Okay, so Shazam came out, and a lot of news came out afterwards. Um, Mostly people unhappy who worked on the movie. Uh, Says, don't Ironheart and the Hood have history together? I never really read Ironheart, so I am unsure. I will defer to you on that. Maybe they'll say the Hood gets his powers from Mephisto instead of Dormammu. Oh, okay. Do you know if Ironheart does well? I mean, does she currently doesn't have? Does Riri currently have a solo series going, or is it done for now? So a couple things came out about Shazam. First, we'll talk about the director. He tweeted. Yeah, I don't think she does. So it didn't do great at the box office. Whether that's because people I really liked the first Shazam. I thought it was probably one of the better DC movies, actually. Wonder Woman was really good, the first one, right up until the last 20 minutes, and then it dropped off for me. But of all of them, Shazam was probably the most fun, which I would agree with. And Helen Mirren's being in Shazam 2 is great, along with what's the other woman's name? I can't remember her name. The other actress in it. Long-range projections for Shazam: Fear of the Gods were never what you'd call encouraging, but the DC Comics sequel now looks set to make even less than the originally predicted. Based on Friday's takings, the movie is expected to finish the weekend with $30 million domestic. Overseas earnings should be a little better, but unless Fear of the Gods proves to have surprisingly strong legs, the studio may have another flop on its hands. Director David F. Sandberg was tagged in a Reddit thread about the film's underwhelming opening weekend and responded with the following. No worries, it's not like this comes as a surprise. I saw where this was heading a long time ago. I'll be alright though. I got paid all of my money up front. Lucy Liu. Correct. I couldn't remember her name. Very interesting response for sure. It sounds like Sandberg, for whatever reason, always had an inkling that the movie wasn't going to perform very well at the box office. The star Zachary Levi also commented on the debut and possibility of a third movie being adapted in the DCU. He said it's all going to come down to box office, just like every other movie ever made. So let's encourage folks to go treat themselves to a night at the movies watching Shazam. There won't be a bummer to worry about. So after the director and Levi came out with that, yesterday we got the news that it's going to be on digital in 2 weeks. Yeah, less than a month after it came out, almost. It's going to be on digital. So after less than stellar reviews and an abysmal opening weekend at the box office, it looks like Shazam: Fear of the Gods may be hitting digital platforms in no time at all, according to the film's page on Prime Video. The Zach Levi starring follow-up will be available for purchase beginning April 17th at 11 p.m. Central Time. That means the film will have just 1 month exclusive in theaters before hitting digital platforms. Shorter time frame than even the newest pandemic-era theatrical windows. I guess they kind of see the writing on the wall and was like, let's try and ride the wave and get some digital rentals and sales out of it before it goes away, I guess, out of people's mind. I mean, it's going to be hard pressed to stay in the kind of the top 5 with John Wick coming out and this week, and then Dungeons and Dragons, which is getting stellar reviews from early reviews. So that might be like an under the radar huge hit. So maybe they're like, well, let's try and get something out of it before the other two. Let's try and get some rentals out of it before it leaves the mind of people like, oh yeah, Shazam 2 is in theaters, but have other things to see in theaters. So the last thing on Shazam: Fear of the Gods was he doesn't like Zack Snyder fans. Despite the sequel only being in theaters for a matter of days, Shazam: Fear of the Gods may have already set a digital release. Shazam, Fear of the Gods, we arrived in past weekend. We know that it's coming out April 18th on digital. Zachary Levi has taken aim at some DC's toxic fans, talking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. Levi started by taking aim at the negative to be negative people he believes have found fault with some of his past critiques of other superhero franchises. Quote, there's a whole contingent of comic book fans that it's really unfortunate that there's this one particular group of people that think, they don't like me because I don't agree with them on another comic book movie. The actor continued, you know who I'm talking about, but instead of there being a conversation, they take up so many of my words or things completely out of context, and then they go stir up all the other people that they know online, and they all just want to attack and attack and attack and attack. It's really sad because this is just one example of so many examples of the amount of just venom and toxicity and bullying that goes on in these cyber dimensions. We're not 100% sure that what Levi is referring to here, especially when most of the backlash he's faced on social media has actually been related to his stance on the still divisive COVID vaccine. While there's some truth to what both the Shazam actor and David Sandberg have said, this does somewhat come across like blaming fans for Shazam Fear the Gods' failings. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm not in the depths of the internet, but I don't think it was so much about Zachary Levi as a person, more about the lack of enthusiasm for DC at this point, and that people, the DC fans who are into it know, or at least into the universe, know that this isn't gonna matter at some point. And I don't know, it seems like he's referring to Zack Snyder fans, but there are certainly a contingent of internet bots that love the Snyder universe. Sammy says, sorry, I'm back. I haven't seen Shazam. Is it good? I want to see it. I think you're right. No enthusiasm, especially since it sounds like they're changing gears in DCU. I personally haven't seen it. Cyberspace has seen it, said it was really fun. Like the first one was really fun. I enjoyed that one. I have kind of, like the others, have lost enthusiasm for the DCU. I also have lost enthusiasm for going to theaters. Like, my wife and I tried to go to Ant-Man, I don't know, 10:30 on a Monday, and there was still like a ton of people talking. Like we're very much not people who will tolerate talking during a movie in the theater, so we try to limit what movies we go to see in theaters, and also when we go see them. We'll usually try and go to a movie 2 or 3 weeks after it comes out, so we're kind of behind on Marvel or etc. We waited 2 weeks to see Ant-Man because of that. So although my mother-in-law is super excited for John Wick, so we have to go see it opening weekend. Cyberspace says new DCEU movies are odd. It's like when knowing an upcoming TV series was canceled before it hit. Why would you watch? Jonathan says, I went today. It was wonderful and empty for Shazam 2. Yeah, maybe we will go see it. If no one's going to see it, there's no one going to be talking during the movie. Yeah, you know what? The same thing happened to us with 1899 and Dark. Like when Dark came out on Netflix, we started watching it because we loved Dark. 1899 because we loved Dark, and we got 3 episodes in and read it was canceled. Like, why would we finish this? Like, what's the point? It was slated for 3 seasons. It's gonna end with questions. Why waste the time and not get the answer to those questions? I suppose that could be the same thing with Shazam 2. I think The Flash might be different, although I don't know, because as good as the Flash trailer looks, and I love Michael Keaton being back, I find it a really hard thing to support Ezra Miller. So, I mean, I'll watch it at home. I would like to watch it in theaters, but I don't know that I can feel good about giving DC money for that movie as good as like reviews. So far, reviews are earlier early reports is that movie is fantastic, and that's why DC and Warner Brothers kept it, despite Ezra Miller being a total garbage human being. But I don't know. That might, people might just forget about that and do it anyways. Yeah, and I would agree. You have to separate the art from the artist. Yeah, it's an interesting ethical question about supporting. There are obviously other actors in that movie that are that you like Michael Keaton, Michael Shannon, that you'd want to support, but the main character you don't want to support. So yeah, it's a question everybody's gonna have to answer for themselves, whether they want to give Warner Brothers their money for that movie or not. Yeah, I mean, the trailer looks fantastic, which seems like it might do well just on that anyways. Okay, so one more article about Shazam before we go on to other topics. Zachary Levi is mad at The Rock and blames The Rock for everything. Recently, Shazam! Fear the Gods director Sandberg revealed that he planned to include Justice Society characters in the sequel's mid-credits scene, only to learn 3 days before cameras rolled that he was no longer allowed to do so. Excuse me. Who put the brakes on that? According to the Wrap, it was Johnson. In a piece that accuses Johnson of having kneecapped both Black Adam and Shazam franchises with his actions, it's revealed that the actor vetoed plans for Hawkman and other members of the Justice Society team to appear in the movie. Dwayne tries to sell himself as bigger than the movie. One insider tells the trade he's one of the few people who always thinks he is the most important person in any situation or room. Instead of making a movie, he wants to extend his brand and make a brand centered on himself. Another adds, by alienating the established property that his character was born out of and refusing to integrate with other established characters, Johnson systematically crippled 2 franchises and has harmed DC in the process. We don't know why Johnson was so against a Shazam crossover, but have to assume he didn't want to share the spotlight or felt 2 characters wouldn't mix well, which contradicts decades of comic book history. Both Black Adam and Shazam had issues beyond the former's lead, but it seems his actions have indeed hurt both franchises. Remember, he went around DC Films brass to get Superman and Black Adam, so it's no wonder that James Gunn and Peter Safran weren't keen to bring him into the DCU fold. And as the trade points out, many in Hollywood are now questioning whether Johnson is still the box office draw he once was, suggesting he's hurt himself in all this as well. It does seem really odd to me that he has campaigned to play a Black Adam for years and was like, but I don't want to have anything to do with Shazam. I believe this story. I probably feel like he thought Black Adam is going to be more adult and Shazam is fun, and he doesn't want to be near the fun for his angry anti-hero. I don't know. I generally like most Rock movies. I mean, they're never going to be Oscar nominated movies, but they're fun action for the most part. I didn't mind Black Adam that much. It seems kind of like a straightforward superhero movie. There was some kind of annoying things about it, but the action was fine. I thought he was fine as Black Adam. But if you're going to be in a universe, dude, you got to own it and interact with other characters in that universe, not just yourself. So maybe it's good that he is no longer part of the DCU. He didn't play well with others. But then again, he brought Henry Cavill back to give fans a boost for a mid-credit scene and hope that Henry Cavill will be back as Superman. So I don't know. It seems like if he wants to come back as a part of the DCU, he's gonna have to learn to not be the center of attention in every movie. He's got to be part of an ensemble cadre of characters, and it's not just about him. And Black Adam's not even the biggest, clearly not the biggest character in that. You have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Like, you're going to be playing second fiddle to those characters if you're going to be part of the universe. Okay,